We just talked to Angela, and up next, not even in the on-deck circle now, in the batter's box, Drew Ashworth back in Atlanta, but joining us here in downtown Alton this Wednesday morning. Drew, how's everything been, man?
Man, it's been great. It's been great. I can't wait to get back to Grafton for the Blues Festival.
I don't know what happened up there when you were here 6 months ago, but you kind of caused a little bit of a firestorm. People are ready for more Drew Ashworth around here, man.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a great place to play. I was treated very warmly and received very well the first time I came, and I think this time I'm even playing a couple of new spots too.
Yep.
So make your plans now if you haven't already to be in Grafton for the Blues Festival. Man, it's going to be a hoot.
Well, and take me through it, because you played at a few blues festivals before. And, I would love talking to you about music, because you're someone who really studies, and just talking to you last time, really loves just music in general and loves blues. But could you maybe in an overview break down just how cool these blues festivals can get for folks that have never gone before? Because we've had the Grafton Blues Festival. Of course, it's an annual. But for folks that haven't gone to experience this, man, it is one of the coolest things.
Right. Well, there's a lot of different options for going to see live music. Everything from going and spending several $100s to go see a national touring act, all the way down to go to see a cover band at your local pub. These type of festivals that I'm a part of, and that a lot of these like the Grafton Blues Festival, it's unique because you're going to get to be able to have some really genuine interactions with a lot of the talent that's going to be played on these stages. It's not like going to a festival and seeing an act from way far away, and you never really get to interact with them other than when they're on stage and when they're maybe talking to you. I'm
Right.
available. You can come and talk to me. We can share a beer and talk about it. If you like the song, I can share with you my story on it. You can share with me how you felt about it.
That's why I was doing these binoculars, because, whenever you're far away, what's the point,
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is up close and personal. And speaking of blues, you had a trek to go see the Miles Davis statue that I got to ask you about. Angela wanted me to ask about your voyage to the Miles Davis statue. Drew Ashworth, take me away.
Well, of course, being a jazz lover, well, really just an American music lover, you got to know who Miles Davis is. And, Alton is pretty famous for being the birthplace of Miles Davis. And, rightfully so, the people of Alton have erected a beautiful statue for him right there in the downtown area. And so because I'm a big Miles fan, I wanted to go and check it out. So we go to on one of my afternoons where we don't have to play for a couple hours. So go make an afternoon of it, go grab a little bite to eat or whatever at one of the many restaurants in downtown Alton, which you guys should go check out, by the way.
Thank you.
And then we make our way over and we get some boba tea at this little tea place across the street from the statue. And as I get out of my car, I just like a lot of people, I just hit the little clicker, tick tick, and it locks up the car, And I drive an F-150, I drive a pickup truck, and when the horn honked in front of the Miles Davis statue, instead of making the loud truck honk, I guess it malfunctioned or something, but now it makes a note that kind of sounds like a trumpet note. It's exactly like a trumpet note. So when I lock my doors in my truck, it goes poop, like a trumpet note, and it started the second I hit I parked the truck. We're right across the street from the Miles Davis statue. And so I was just like, wow, this is, I don't think I'm going to fix it. I think I'm just going to leave it that way.
You ever heard of a movie where Miles Davis comes to life in your car, or in your truck? That's incredible.
I hope that Miles is not stuck in my truck. I hope not. I hope that he's moved on. I hope that he's not in this realm anymore. He only visits us from the spiritual realm. I hope that he's not trapped in my truck. But I do have a really cool story, and now Miles is in the name of the truck.
That's really cool. And you got to see the RiverBender building, in all of its glory.
I was like, oh, I know somebody who works there.
Yeah, there you go. But, I just thought it was cool that you guys made it a point to go see that statue and go take a little bit of a trip. And you got to go see CJ's Juicery, which had the boba tea. No relation, by the way. People always ask that. That is not mine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought immediately when I saw the sign, I was like, hey man, maybe this guy's here. Maybe I can go see
He,
an Alton celebrity.
you,
But alas,
a D minus on. No, that would be the next Inquirer story though. Miles Davis alive in my truck, you know.
I mean, there was okay. We also obviously we went down the River Road, which is beautiful.
Yes, it
I
is.
can't imagine what it's like. I mean, I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the spring because I was there in the fall, and it was after all the colors changed, so I didn't really get the benefit of all that. But it was still beautiful. Love water. Love being by the river, and of course the history of that body of
Yeah.
water and what it means to blues music. It's really cool to be driving down those riverbanks. But then also the Piasaw bird. I gotta say, because I came into contact with the Piasaw, like not actually the physical Piasaw bird, but we saw the Piasaw rendering.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got, I happen to know from my wife, who's much more socially active than I. We had some friends that actually live in the area and kind of explained to me the whole Piasaw thing.
Uh-huh.
So I told her that I was going to write a Piasaw song, but I'd really been slacking there. I really need to get up on that
Well,
and warn people about the legend of the Piasaw.
it's really cool. And that's hearing what you said about the riverbanks, man. I didn't even think about that because, as someone that's studied and really done this like you have, to be able to really see, where a lot of inspiration came from blues music and where it was a lot of times, those songs were developed on those riverbanks, man, that's got to be really kind of hair raising in a way. And just kind of because I always put myself back in time whenever I come across a situation like that. And I just think that's really symbolic of, just that passing the torch to the next generation, maybe or may have not have been, sitting there sailing up the river or just on the riverbanks, doing what you got to do. But now driving along it 100 years later, it's kind of cool.
I mean, it was the Freedom Highway.
Yeah.
And the birthplace of the blues, the birthplace of the blues was truly Africa.
Yeah.
But when Africans were over here, and as time went on, that the music and that morphed into what it became known as the blues, and then jazz, and then which spun off rock and roll, country, and everything else. But those songs are born of oppression, and the system of oppression, and it's the songs of suffering. And especially the earlier blues songs, the earlier blues recordings from like Muddy Waters and from the earlier pioneers, a lot of those guys were code switching, and talking about things that they really weren't supposed to be talking about because of Jim Crow.
Yep.
And the river represented for those folks and for the generations before them using the Underground Railroad. The river was freedom, and that's why it was so often mentioned in the music.
And on top of that, too, just mentioned Muddy Waters died on this date in 1980. I just read that today on the show. But, just hearing some of those, man, and just hearing the life and the spirit and just the power and what they felt at the time coming to life, it's really cool. And now we'll get the chance in Grafton the weekend of May 18th to listen to you do the same thing. Take us through that. Where are we playing on the entire weekend?
Okay, so I've been very fortunate to have several gigs up in Alton or in Grafton as a part of the festival. I think I'm playing one show that's not quite a part of the festival, but I'm still in the area. So on Friday, May 17th at 6 p.m., we're going to play I'm going to play solo at the Grafton Winery and Brew House, which is right there in Grafton, right across the street from the river. And then on Saturday, the next day at 8 p.m., I don't think this is part of the festival, but I'm at Abigail's Tap Room.
Great spot.
And I'm super excited to play there. I saw it on my first trip, and I was like, that looks like the spot I really want to be at. Anyway, Sunday, May 19th, I'm at the Grafton Pub at 2 p.m. And then we have a sip and sign also that day with brunch on Saturday, May 18th. Sorry, Sunday, May 19th, I'm at the Grafton Pub, and Saturday, May 18th, there's a sip and sign with my wife, which I'm supposed to plug.
He did, Angela. I watched it happen. But, and that's what I think's cool is the fact that, you go up, last time around 6 months ago, and now you're back here in literally 6 months playing 3 different shows. Take me through that first experience you had playing in front of a Grafton crowd. Did you enjoy being with them?
Well, first of all, I was just overtaken by the natural beauty that is surrounding that area. The whole, and then you're super close to St. Louis, so you have a cool like downtown area that's right over there if you want to do that vibe. But then if you want to have more of a laid back, chill vibe here in the Grafton area, you can come out here. I stayed in a wonderful area, pulled my RV in and stayed in the state park. And it was just beautiful. I mean, even in the fall, even in the chilly weather, it was great. The people were really super nice to me and treated me well and wanted to hear my stories. And I just kind of fell in love with the community there. And I hope that I'm making a relationship that's going to last the test of time, and that I can continue to kind of like come back, keep going back to Grafton and. Because it's a cool spot.
Man, I think it will happen. I really do, because I had people that I didn't even talk about, interviewing you, that went up and said, man, I saw this guy in Grafton. And they really did. I was at Cad Daddy's whenever they came back down, and they said, yeah, he was great. This Drew Ashworth was wonderful. And it's like, well, great. Keep coming back, because people loved it, man. And now, in the 6 months, anything new happening in terms of Drew Ashworth music? Is there anything new coming out that we can kind of stay tuned to? Fill us in.
Yes. Okay. So on the business side of things, I have been, for the last 18 months or so, I've been really intently watching this whole AI debate thing and where it pertains to creative arts. And during that time, I've just been sort of sitting on a bunch of songs, writing songs and just sort of sitting on them and not doing anything, because I wanted to see how this is going to play out. And then I have since moved back into the realm of being an independent recording artist. And I don't think they've got the whole AI thing completely figured out, but I think I've got it figured out for me, if that makes sense.
Totally. So not to cut you off, man, we just went through the same thing here, because it's like, well, it's here. Now, what can we do to help ourselves? And that's what we did, is just, let's find something that works for us and let the other people debate what's good and bad about it,
Right. And me being a creative artist, I wanted to make sure that I was moving in ways that was going to protect me ultimately.
Yep.
And I didn't want to sign up with a bunch of people that might be not have the same interest as me.
100%.
Priorities as me. So I took one from probably the guy that's at the top of the blues game right now. His name's Joe Bonamassa. I don't know if you guys know who that guy is.
I've heard of him, yes.
He's an amazing guitarist, amazing songwriter, amazing vocalist, and he's at the top of the blues game right now. And when I listen to this guy, he talks about, he uses some business speak that I recognize from way back in the day when I was a college student and studying the business in the business school. He talks about vertical integration and doing everything in-house so that you can maintain control over everything, so that you never lose your voice, or you never lose your rights, or you never have somebody else come in and do something that maybe you wouldn't have done.
Yep.
So that's sort of been my focus, is trying to get myself and my enterprise vertically integrated, so I'm not really dependent upon anybody outside of my team.
Now, that's a good point. When I was really heavy into pro wrestling before I took a little bit of a break last year, I was at Dustin Road School, and we talked all about IP and how to protect it and how to build, because you're right. I mean, that's something that no one really talks about in terms of AI, is the fact that there's some chances that you're going to lose rights to some of the things that you're doing, and who knows what happens with it. And that's why I think just talking about it a little bit to raise some awareness, because there's so many younger kids out there that want to be songwriters and they want to utilize this new technology, but just to, raise some awareness to maybe doing a little bit more research, seeing what's best for their brand, their person, that's really good to talk about too.
I think that on a micro scale, everybody has to make their own decisions as to what they feel comfortable with.
Yep.
Definitely, artificial intelligence is a tool that musicians can use. Maybe not in the, maybe not so much in the music
Right.
creation realm, but in marketing and other ways. It's just a way that you can use things. But it's important to educate yourself on exactly what it is, what its capabilities are, and what you as an artist are going to feel the most comfortable with.
100
And
100%. Sorry, Drew. This Zoom delay gets me every time, man. But getting back to the music portion of it, because I just looked down, man. We were already talking for 15 minutes. I'm sorry about that. Getting back to the music, how long are you playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Probably we're going to be doing 3 or 4 hour rides.
Wow.
And, if anybody wants to stay a little bit later, man, heck yeah, I was put on this earth to play. So
Man, that's cool. I've never asked this question. Out of 6 years of doing this, I can say this is the first time I've ever asked this question. How do you stay, I don't even know if fit's the right word. How do you have enough stamina to get through, sets like that? Because, if you take a break or not, you're still playing instruments. You're still, utilizing vocal components. I mean, is there like a fitness component when it comes to playing sets that are a couple hours or anything like that?
you can get you can get tired, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. When I was 20 years old, these things didn't bother me too much, but it's sort of a one-man operation. My wife helps me out quite a bit. But when it comes to the physical things and, loading the truck and setting the equipment and all those things, that's really where it takes a toll. And then also performing, well, it might not look to the average person like there's been a whole lot of energy spent up there. There's quite a bit of energy being
Yeah.
spent, and it does wear you out. But I've been doing this for, gosh, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And for the long time, I was doing it on the side of a job where I worked 50 or 60 or 70 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I went and played. So, a lot of people will tell you that a lot of musicians are lazy, but those type of folks can come be my roadie if they want.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding, man. Well, Drew, just talking with you every time I do, it's a great pleasure because, you and Angela are good people. And thank you for giving us your time on the show because I know you guys are busy and things are happening all the time. But for us to have a couple of minutes ahead of the 18th is wonderful. Real quick, while I have you, could you fill us in again on the dates and where you're playing? Because you'll be playing for 3 or 4 hours each time.
Okay. All right. Let me get it right this time. All right. Got the notes. All right. We're going to go backwards. Okay. On Sunday, May 19th, I'm at the Grafton pub, and we start at 2 p.m. and we'll play from 2 to 5, unless there's a rowdy crowd, and then we'll go to 6 or 7.
That sounds good.
Now, on Saturday, there's a sip-in sign. It's a brunch event, and that starts at 10 a.m. And if you want more information on that, you just go to ilovelearningasl.com.
Good plug.
On Saturday, May 18th, this is an evening show. So after supper, head on over to Abigail's Tap Room because I'm going to play from 8 to probably midnight.
That's awesome.
And then on Friday, May 17th, it's Grafton Winery and Brew House at 6 p.m., probably till 9 or 10.
That's awesome, man. Well, and seriously, Drew, I hope all goes well. I can't wait. I told Angela that this time I do have time to make a trip up to Grafton and at least say hi to both of you. And I'm really excited to do that. And, have a safe trip up here, have a safe trip back. But most importantly, just kick ass, take names when you're rocking the stage for the Blues Festival.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a real blessing to be included in y'all's community. I really feel blessed to be welcomed in, and thanks for the opportunity to promote it on your show. And I can't wait to get back up to Grafton.
Man, I can't wait to see you and meet you for the first time in person. And you're welcome back, you and Angela both, anytime that you guys have something coming on down the pipeline. Seriously, the floor is yours, Senator, anytime you want it.
Yeah, nice. Make sure you stay in touch with me at Drew Ashworth Music on all my socials because I got several singles coming to you this year.
Absolutely, and we will try to link that in the on-demand version of this interview. So if you're watching it after the show, just click on that link and you go right to some of Drew's socials and you can stay up to date on the latest. Drew Ashworth, thank you for your time, man.
Bye, guys.